This is the beginning and the end of a long journey. This is the Real Estate Investing with a Purpose Podcast, episode 244. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing with a Purpose Podcast. My name is Brett Snodgrass, and I am the host of this show, and I'm delighted for you guys to be here with us today. I've been looking forward to this show for a long time now. This is 244 episodes in to the Real Estate Investing with a Purpose Podcast. We start off as the Simple Wholesaling Podcast, and we're going to be talking about our journey over the last 4+ years of putting out 244 episodes. And what this next year, 2021, is going to look like, I'm excited to what we are about to do, what we are about to launch, and looking forward to this transition for a long time now. Before we get into that, I'm so grateful. I cannot just extend how thankful I am for all of our listeners that have been following us for years. I've had people reaching out all over the world that have been listening to this podcast. Thousands and thousands and thousands of downloads, thousands of followers, thousands of listeners, thousands of messages. And I thank you for tuning in and listening to our expert guests that we've had on the show, listening to my bantering sometimes, my spiritual foundations, my goofy intros. I'm thankful for all of you for joining us in these last 4 years. And I pray that you would continue to join us and follow us, because we are about to launch something pretty amazing. And before we really get into what we're going to be doing in 2021, let's just start back at the beginning. So, our very first podcast was in April of 2016, and we launched a podcast, and I had a co-host with me named Jaron Barnes. And if you listen to the first 96 episodes of the Simple Wholesaling Podcast, it was with Jaron Barnes, and that was such an amazing ride. I love Jaron. He put a lot of flavor into the show, and we had just an amazing time together, a lot of fun. We would also dress up in these goofy costumes sometimes. Look at some of our videos back in the day. We'd have wigs and glasses and hats and just all kinds of silly intros and silly things, and that was just an amazing ride. Episode number 2, I thought that we were interviewing a celebrity. We had Brandon Turner from BiggerPockets.com on the show with us. That was episode number 2. And I just thought we had made it, right? And I was so nervous to even put our very first podcast. And it was just really cool. And the reason why we did it was, number one, I wanted to create, right? I'm a creator. One of my outlets that helps relieve stress for me is to sit down and to create. It could be writing a story, journaling, doing a podcast, having a conversation, and just, thinking inquisitively about what to ask, questions to ask, what to put out there. How can I make something hit home with someone else and they can relate to me? That's one of my gifts, is I enjoy creating. I've always been a creator, and if you actually look at my childhood, even growing up as a kid, I really enjoyed creating. My brother and I, every Christmas, we pull out a cassette tape, and it's of me and my brother singing Christmas carols, right? We sang Jingle Bells, we sang Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and today you got thousands of videos, but back in the 80s, you didn't have that much. We actually had to sit down with a cassette recorder, press record, and this is the only one that has made it through all the years, and it was very, very cool. But again, I just enjoyed creating, even at 5 years old. I used to make up stories, just about whatever, just the craziest stories that I would make up about myself and my family, and I would make up funny sounds. I actually remember I would tell stories about our family eating chili dogs, and I'll actually have to find that tape somewhere about me telling stories of eating chili dogs. It's quite a hoot. My brother graduated from high school, and my friends and I actually made up a skit about my brother's years in high school. Again, I remember these things because they were so meaningful to me because they were all about creating. I even took my creating to college with me, and they had this variety show called the Davis Hall Follies. I went to a small college in northern Indiana called Huntington University, and they had the Davis Hall Follies. And I would do skits of whatever, Saturday Night Live skits. Remember, I did the cheerleading skit from Saturday Night Live one time. We sang Beauty and the Beast songs, just crazy stuff. I just have always enjoyed creating. My fifth year, senior year, yes, I was a fifth year senior, I actually was the host of the Davis Hall Follies, and I remember me and my friend Mike Willard dressed up in the Dumb and Dumber suits. He was the orange, and I was the blue. Actually, it might have been the other way around. I was the orange, and he was the blue suit, and that's how we hosted the Davis Hall Follies. So, to say all of that is one of the big reasons why I created this podcast, and I'm creating more videos now, is that I like to create. If Brett Snodgrass can be more of Brett Snodgrass, there is creating involved. And that's why we came out with this podcast. And the reason why I want to say that is I want to inspire you to be more of you. Life is so short. It is a blip, it's a mist, it's a vapor. It is so short. And for you to try to be something someone else wants you to be, it is so not worth it. Some people would say, Brett, why would you do this? Why do you do your funny intros? And really the answer is, I just want to be more of me. And if you don't like that, then I'm sorry. You don't have to listen. But if I really want to be true to myself and to live out my purpose, creating things in an entertaining, fun way is part of that. And that's what this new show and this new channel is going to be about. Another reason why I started this podcast was because I enjoy having conversations with fascinating people. I love being inquisitive. I love digging deep, asking questions that normal interviewers don't ask. I love going deep. I love getting raw. I love getting a little bit of messiness. A lot of times after our interviews, the guest would say, man, I loved your show because you asked me questions that other people never ask me. Most people are very surfacey, ask the real estate questions. Hey, how do you get leads? Things like that. And I go deep. I say, hey, how's your marriage doing? How are you as a parent? How do you do that, right? How do you handle the stress that's weighed on you as an entrepreneur? So I enjoy having fascinating conversations. And I've said this on the show before that if no one ever listened to the show, I would still do it. Let me say that again. If no one ever listened to this podcast, I would still record this show because I have amazing conversations with fascinating people from all over the world about entrepreneurship, creating, making money, creating legacy, whatever it is, in real estate. I have amazing conversation with fascinating people. Again, if you want to have great conversations with fascinating people, a podcast is a great thing to do. Because if I went to you and I said, hey, you're very successful, whatever your name is, fill in the blank, you're very successful, and I want to pick your brain. I want to talk to you about your expertise in the topic that you are an expert in. You would probably say, well, I don't know if I have time for that. Well, okay, let's reverse that then. And if I didn't say that, and I said, hey, I want to have you on my podcast, you would probably say yes, absolutely. That's an honor that you would want me in my podcast. And again, it's going to go out to thousands of people. They're going to listen to me tell my story, and it's going to be great. It's the same thing, except you would say yes if I had a podcast. And it's exactly what I do here. I get to have amazing conversations with fascinating people because I have a podcast. So if you want to do that, have a podcast. Another reason why I started this podcast is I highly enjoy helping people. I want to inspire people. I want to make an impact in people's lives. I want to make a difference. And this is one way that I can use my gifts to do that. Again, I get to be more of me. I get to create, get to have a fascinating conversation with you. And I get listeners to tune in that actually listen to these fascinating conversations. And I can, be Brett. And they actually really, really enjoy it. So that, again, I get to impact people. I get to inspire people. I've had so many people reach out to me and said, Brett, I'm listening to your show. I've never heard a real estate show that talks about God like you do. That's just an example of, and I get to have a conversation with them and really help them. I get to inspire people. You don't have to hide your faith over here. You can just put it out there, like, be you, right? You don't have to hide anything. Like, nobody wants you to hide anything. And if they do, they're the naysayers out there. They're not even worth your time. Be more of you. And if you have a strong faith, put it out there. It's exactly what I do. People don't listen to my show because of that. And honestly, I don't care, right? It doesn't matter to me because, again, I get to be more of me. I get to talk about God because he's the reason, that I'm still alive today and that I'm still living and breathing, and he gets all the glory. And I get to just to do that. So again, I get to help people, inspire people, impact people, make a difference. That's another big reason why I started this podcast. When we started this podcast in 2016, we called it the Simple Wholesaling Podcast, honestly, because I didn't know what else to call it. So I was talking to Jaron, and we said, hey, what do you want to call this podcast? And we just decided on the Simple Wholesaling Podcast. And it went a lot deeper than wholesaling. We did talk about spiritual things. We talked about all the niches in real estate. After about 96 episodes in, my CEO now of our company, Brian Snyder, came in, and he was the co-host on this podcast with me. And that was great. We did 50 episodes, 60 episodes or so, and that was great. Got to hang out with Brian a lot, and I really just got to know him, and he's a great podcast host. He actually has his own podcast now that he gets to interview some different people, and our team is part of that podcast as well. If you want to check that out, it's the Indie Investor Pod, and it's really all about Indianapolis real estate investing, so he does that now, but it was a great journey with him, and obviously, he runs the whole real estate company now, and so you can listen to some of those episodes. And then I kind of just started doing it on my own. So for the last 80 to 100 episodes, I've been kind of just doing it on my own here. And I decided to transitioning into the Real Estate Investing with a Purpose podcast because I really want to talk about purpose. And I want to talk about what makes you come alive. What makes me come alive? What are we supposed to do? What are we called to do? And I wanted to go beyond real estate, even though, we still talked all about real estate because it was called the Real Estate Investing with a Purpose show. I wanted to go beyond that and talk about, okay, that's great, but what's the purpose behind all of that? And that's when we started the Real Estate Investing with a Purpose show. And I love talking about real estate. Real estate is an amazing tool. It has given me so much freedom right now, right? I literally, as I mentioned, Brian is the CEO of our business, and I work literally in the real estate business maybe 2 hours a week, right? Because I'm still involved with the lenders and some of the financial stuff and the budgeting, things like that, making sure we're making money. But other than that, I don't do anything else. That's it. And it's given me so much freedom that I got this business that brings in thousands of dollars now that I don't have to work in. And it's all because of real estate. And I love talking about real estate. And most of the people that listen to this show are real estate investors. And they might be apartment buildings or self-storage units or wholesalers or flippers or buy and hold rental guys, single families, whatever it is, you can build wealth in real estate. It has high margins. It's not going anywhere. Most people have built their wealth through real estate, but it's not the end goal for me, right? And now I'm going to transition into this new show. What real estate has done for me, it's the thing that gets me to the thing. It's the fuel for my fire that gets me to my passion, right? I like real estate, but I love talking about people that are living out their purpose. Real estate has been a tool for me that I can use to live out my purpose. I don't want on my grave, my tombstone, hey, he was a great real estate investor, but I would love for someone to say he laid it all out, lived a life according to God's plan and God's purpose. And Brett was a purpose-driven individual. And that's what I would love to say. And that's what this next podcast is going to be about. So what are you going to do? You're asking me. So Brett, great. So you've had 244 episodes in the Real Estate Investing with a Purpose. What is it now? Well, let me just describe this to you. We're still going to do a lot of the similar things, but we're transitioning into the Brett Snodgrass Podcast. Again, what a name, right? It's like, it's like the Dave Matthews Band. It's like, can't you come up with anything more creative than that? It's just the Brett Snodgrass Podcast because it gives me flexibility to honestly talk about what I really want to talk about. And what are you going to talk about on the Brett Snodgrass Podcast? Well, number one, where can you find this at? We're going to be putting a lot of our content on our YouTube channel, which is the Brett Snodgrass YouTube channel. And really just kind of search for Brett Snodgrass, search for my name, and you're really going to put all of our content on the Brett Snodgrass YouTube channel. So what is it going to have on there? Number one, it's going to have this video podcast. As you know, that I've done some videos, but I have not done a lot of video podcasts. These are going to be professional, they're going to be edited, and they're going to be high content value for you. So the video, Brett Snodgrass Podcast, is the one thing that's going to be on our YouTube channel. And we're going to be interviewing people that, again, they're fascinating people. These are going to be entrepreneurs. They're going to be creators. I have some pastors that are coming on the show with me. I have people that are super successful, people that, all walks of life. And mostly it's going to be highly successful individuals that are going beyond success, right? And what do you mean by that? My favorite quote in the world is from D.L. Moody, who created the Moody Bible Institute. And he says that your biggest fear should not be failure. It should be succeeding at something that doesn't matter. Your biggest fear should not be failure, but it should be succeeding at something that doesn't matter, right? And I see so many entrepreneurs out there that they are highly successful, but I'm going to tell you, their success doesn't really matter because all they do is they fill up their own bank accounts, they fill up their own stomachs, they're selfish, they're egotistical, and it's all about them. And honestly, no one cares. Like, I know it's really hard to take for that person's ego, but I'm going to tell you, no one cares at all, ever. If it's all about you, no one cares. And that's the truth. And the truth, my friend, will set you free, right? So, this show is going to be really about successful entrepreneurs that are going beyond that are going into the world of significance. And I'm going to be talking to these people again. It's a lot about purpose, right? But it's not only going to be real estate. It's going to be other walks too. Highly successful people. It could be creators or actors or authors or real estate people or whatever, but they're going to be on all of that. And we're going to dig deep. People that are highly successful and they're living out their purpose. One of our taglines for this new show, the Brett Snodgrass channel, is live your purpose. Man, if you can make $10 million and I could help you do that, great. But if you're not living out your purpose, it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter. Can it help you get to the point where you live out your purpose? Yeah, it could. But what I see so many times, people don't do it. They get sucked into the money, they get sucked into the fame, the popularity contest, and they just keep going and they never really figure out what they want. How can they be more of them? Another thing about this show is these conversations, they're going to be real. They're going to be raw. They're going to be vulnerable. They're going to be deep, right? I'm not a guy, I don't like fluff. Don't fluff it up. Don't give me some cotton candy at the carnival. Don't give me a puppy dog stuffed bunny that I can cuddle with. I don't want any of that. This is real, raw talk. This is about the challenges of creators. This is about, the stress. I have this conversation with this one entrepreneur that the stress was just weighing on him, the silent killer, where people are almost dying because of the pressure that they feel. If that's you, tune in. People that are struggling with their personal life, with their marriage, with parenting, because of the pressure of entrepreneurship and what that entails, right? People that says, you know what, this is great. I love all this money, but this isn't me. I'm not even, I'm miserable. And what is this all for? People that are trying to figure out their purpose in life. I'm talking to one of the very first shows is an entrepreneur and a creator that actually lives in India, that's planting churches, that's doing amazing things for the kingdom. And he's also doing real estate here in America. Like crazy conversations, fascinating people. That's what we're getting into. Real, raw, vulnerable conversations with creators, entrepreneurs that are going beyond success into the world of significance. So what are you going to find on the Brett Snodgrass YouTube channel? Well, number one, you're going to find interviews with highly successful people that are going beyond success into the world of significance, people that are living out their purpose. Fascinating conversations. Like I had a guy start crying on the podcast the other day. Like raw conversations, all right? Get rid of the fluff. No puppy dogs here. Let's do that. So we got interviews, and then I'm going to do a reflection video. And what that is going to be is it's really just me feeling that interview and what I got from it. And I think it's so important because I do these interviews, but then I personally reflect on these, on what I got out of them. So we're going to do the interviews, and those are going to come out on Mondays. So go to our YouTube channel right now, the Brett Snodgrass YouTube channel, and check out, what we're doing there. And we're going to put a link in the show notes here. And on Mondays, we're going to be coming out with the interview. On Thursdays, we're going to be coming out with my reflection of that particular interview. I'm going to take a bit of that interview and break it down on what I got out of it and how I reflected on it. We're also going to be doing other fun videos and teaching videos. I'm going to be talking about freedom. This is where I'm at right now, guys. I am free. I'm huge on freedom. I was at a mastermind about 6 months ago, and I wanted to meet other real estate entrepreneurs that have chosen freedom, that are not in their business, they're not the CEO, they're just in the owner's box, and they're living out their freedom. And when I asked that question, I didn't get a lot of people. And I was like, why don't people ever choose the freedom, right? I mean, isn't that what we're doing this for? The financial freedom to be able to do what we want, when we want, with whoever we want. And there's not a lot of people that have chosen that. I think there could be, but there's not. People preach it all the time, but really, really dig in and ask them, do you have that? And people will say, no, I have to be in my business. I have to work. If I don't, it's going to fall apart. And that's what I'm going to be talking about, real freedom. Going to be talking about success. This has been a huge 13-year journey for me, and it's going to keep going. That I love talking about success because, again, if you can build a business, make money, you have options to live out your purpose. Like if I didn't have real estate as a tool and I had just a 9-to-5 job, I couldn't be doing this sort of stuff. Couldn't even be doing this podcast, doing these fun things that make Brett more of me, and I would just be stuck, right? So I'm going to talk about success, but the thing I'm really going to be talking about, and this is different for everybody, is living out your purpose. One of the most famous books out there was The Purpose-Driven Life. And I asked myself, why does that hit home with so many people? Is because everybody wants to have a purpose. Everybody. It could be a kid, it could be a teen, it could be a grown man, it could be a dad, it could be a mom, it could be a business owner. Everybody wants to be significant and they want to have a purpose. And that's what this show is going to be digging into. We're going to be talking about people that are looking for their purpose, people that have found their purpose, people that are going into a season of a new purpose, right? And I think that's true. Like, some people, it's like finding, is there one person out there for everybody? People would ask that when I was in college. Is there one person that God has chosen for you for the rest of your life? I don't know. I don't know. I think that it isn't, honestly. I don't think so. I think that I could have chosen my wife, Karen, which I love dearly, but if it was somebody else, like it's about how I pursue, how I treat them. People say, well, what does God want me to do with this job, right? Like, what job does he want? I don't think he cares, honestly. I really, really don't. It's what you do with it that he cares about. And what are you doing with the gifts that he's given you? He's given you guys gifts. He's given me gifts. Use them. Why aren't we using our gifts? Like, I want to create. I was talking to my friend Steve Richards the other day, and he was talking about, Brett, like, all you want to do is just create videos, do podcasts. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's just me being more of me. And I want you guys to be more of you. So the next thing about this new, what's different about the Brett Snodgrass channel is it's going to be real. It's going to be raw. You're going to be talking about things that, like, you're going to really stop and be like, what did he just say? Like, did he really just expose that? Did he really just go there and be vulnerable there? Is he really asking that question to that guests? Yes, I am. Because I'm going there. Like, who cares? Right? It's like, let's be real, or let's just not even do it. I'm tired of the fluff. I'm tired of the hey, let's just put our highlight reel out there. Let's get real. This is what this show is going to be about. It's going to be real. It's going to be raw. It's going to be vulnerable. And that's what it's just going to be. People ask me, are you going to talk about real estate? Yeah, we're going to have real estate investors on the show. We're going to have entrepreneurs, business owners, creators, people that are building something. We're going to have all people from walks of life that are successful, right? That are creating something, building something, authors, actors, actresses, men, women. But we're going to go deep. We're going to go deep and talk about, like, hey, what is your purpose in all that? How are you living out your purpose? Talk to us about your family. And we're going to go into some of these other places that they don't go on these other shows. We're going to do this in Brett Snodgrass style, too. Like, we're going to have fun. And one of the biggest things I love to do is I love to create skits. I love to create characters. So there's going to be videos on the Brett Snodgrass that are going to be so fun. And some people are going to hate it. I'm gonna tell you, some people are gonna leave this channel, and because they're gonna be hilarious, they're gonna be fun, and I'm honestly gonna be making fun of some things out there, some of the gurus that are putting the fluff out there. I'm gonna be creating characters that kind of make a spoof of all of that, because I think when I see all that, I don't know about you, but I get a little bit annoyed, and I just want to have fun with it. And so there's going to be some crazy characters coming out. Just think of Saturday Night Live meets The Entrepreneur. And so you're talking about serious things, but we're going to do it in a very fun way. So it's going to be deep, it's going to be raw, it's going to be vulnerable, but we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And there's going to be some funny videos that I think are going to get a lot of traction. I got so many ideas that I've written down through the years of characters that I wanted to create, and we're going to be doing that on this show. So that's about it, guys. So if you want to find us, go to the Brett Snodgrass channel on YouTube. That's where we're going to put all of our content, all of our videos. The show notes are going to be in the description of the videos, and we're really going to be a video-based content creation company. So if you want to find us and you want to find myself, you're going to go to YouTube. You're going to check out the Brett Snodgrass channel. And we're also going to be interviewing a lot of people from our real estate business too. I got Brian coming on the show. I believe I got Ronnie coming on the show, and some of the other guys from the real estate team. I'm going to be talking about that too. Like, it's not like Brett Snodgrass is separating himself from the real estate team. I love them. I love, what we're doing over there. And I'm going to be talking about some of that stuff as well. But I'm really digging into the things that I talked about as far as, living out your purpose, and it's going to be a very, very fun channel. So go check it out, the Brett Snodgrass channel on YouTube. That's where you're going to be able to find myself and all of our content, and make sure you subscribe, right? You got to subscribe to the channel. That's just really going to help us, and you're not going to want to miss the episodes that come out. Also, hit the notifications bell. Bing, 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 bing. And you're going to want to be able to get the notifications every time a new video comes out. Right now, the videos are going to be coming out. It's launching January 4th. So check it out. January 4th is our very first episode. Honestly, I just want to have fun with it and inspire others, impact others, make a difference. And I want you to live out your purpose as I am doing. So thank you guys so much. This is the end of the Real Estate Investing with a Purpose podcast, this last episode, and I hope that you guys would follow me on the Brett Snodgrass channel on YouTube, and make sure if you're listening to this on audio, we are now the Brett Snodgrass Podcast. Thank you guys so much. I love you. I'll see you soon.